Hello, everybody listening to Gabo Jazz. Today we're just going to be addressing few things. Hold on me to go on. I'm going to go through the rabbit hole with you pertaining the politics. I could hear people, you know, blaming, putting a blame or placing a blame on the current governance, on this current regime, which is like black people to say if you can compare, if you can do proper, thorough research about comparing the ancient government versus the current modern government, there is a huge distinction that distinguishes the two. It makes a lot of sense, and people they are scorning or scoffing or blaming, belittling, downcasting and slandering the current regime, the current government, which is of black people to say it was even better. It was even better back in the days while the country was governed by white people. Look at the infrastructure, things like roads now are like full of potholes. But back in the apartheid government, everything was proper. The roads were properly built. We had like good policing when it tantamounts to things like safety and so on and so forth. And as compared to now. Because if you could just try to assess, evaluate, and examine the level of crime, it's at the brink, it's skyrocketing. Some celebrities are gunned down in front of everyone. There's still footage, but even the perpetrators of that crime are not being caught up to this stage. You see, even this case of Senzo Meyiwa, one of the most prolific soccer player, famous with influence, Bafana Bafana captain as well as Orlando Pirates. He was just gun pointed, and now they've been like grappling with this case for the longest time. I think it's been almost like more than 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken. So people are lashing, blaming on the governance. Here is my take on this. I think we should agree on this thing, even though I'm reprehensible for what I'm saying. I'm open for critics, by the way, to say, there is a reason why government was, the apartheid government was building proper infrastructure when it tantamount to things like, even this black government failed to build cities. Our cities are rotting. Look at the city of Johannesburg. It is so rotten, and so on and so forth. I get that, but people should bear in mind that the apartheid government were also having economical power and political power at the same time, simultaneously. And when it comes to blacks, it's a different narrative. It's a totally different game. It's a different story because the wealth of the country, the economy of the country, it's still within the palm of the hands of the few, which is white people. But it was favorable in their regime, in their time, while they were governing this country, because they were able to take from the whole economy, which is in the palm of their hand. Then when it comes to black people, it's totally different. I know it is patently absurd and grossly unfair to see this exorbitant discrepancy between the apartheid government versus this current modern government, which is black dominated. To say they can't even build proper roads are engulfed and overwhelmed by potholes, police stations. Sometimes they lack the vans, the barkies, to rush to any emergency or to rescue whatever jeopardy of turbulence certain particular people will be experiencing at that point in time. We understand all of these issues, and we know that our country are facing tremendous setbacks, and they are basically grappling with a lot when it comes to these issues. But guys, just understand that things won't work the same when the people who were owning economy were in charge. Now they're just driving the ark behind, but they don't open all of the wallets, which is wealth and economy of the country, to ensure with certainty that all services in the country will be properly funded to function properly in a prominent way. It is caused by the very same white people who were deprived from their power of politics. That is why they shrink their hand when it comes to providing necessary and efficient funds in order for the government to be able to provide these services, so that our government can be looked as failure, so that they can return back their power, which is what will remove them in power, because there were lots of unsatisfactories and discrepancies and unfairness, disparity that were exercised against black people. So I know there might be a dichotomy or a bone of contention pertaining this, but here is the way in which we could try to circumvent these issues. Probably is to deal with mineral reserves, the big companies. Let's properly structure something that will benefit black people, which will take a bullet at some point somewhere somehow. We cannot run away from the fact, if talks, if conversations, if arguments, if table chats is so freaking powerful in such a way that it can return back power to black people. But we've been sitting in tables and having chats, but still a black person is still oppressed up to this day. So table talks are not working. That is why white people, the imperialists, the colonists, when they intrude and invade in this country and deprive, purloin, and embezzle all what belongs to our forefathers, they didn't came to sit on tables and negotiate with us. They took those things through a barrel. So if we think we're going to negotiate because we are so freaking good in persuasion, it's not going to work. Things are not going to change. I think I've made myself clear. Thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely one. Gabo Jazza.